The release of Star Wars Jedi Survivor is quickly approaching. The game is coming out on April 28th, and Jedi Survivor is the sequel to Fallen Order. It is nice to finally get the second game of this supposed trilogy. As much as I love playing the Battlefront games, it's nice to get back to a narrative-driven game where I could use a lightsaber, now supposedly a blaster, and of course Force abilities. Jedi Survivor is one of the most anticipated games coming out this year, and I want to preview it, one, because I plan on playing this game and I'll do a full-on review later on, but also, I'm just really excited leading up to this game because everything they've shown in trailers, in the gameplay reveals, and developer interviews, the details they've given us so far, not a lot of spoilers, but enough to give us an idea what to expect in this game, and it all looks really good. And it does sound like Respawn Entertainment is looking to build upon Fallen Order in its story and gameplay elements. So let's talk about it in today's video. And let's start with what we know so far about the story. The story is taking place 5 years after the events of the first game. We will once again be in the shoes of Cal Kestis as he continues to survive against the Empire and its effort to eliminate every last surviving Jedi. Cal is officially a Jedi Knight thanks to Seer, his master. In the trailers, we have seen Cal along with his droid companion BD-1 and some of his pals from the first game. Some returning characters include Seer, Grease, and Marin. Perhaps there's more, but that is who is confirmed so far, and then of course there is one of the new characters that appears to be friendly is Bo Dakuna, and again he seems to be a friend because he's shown assisting Cal, who was hanging off a ledge in one of the clips. There also seems to be quite a few new unfriendly characters as well. One confirmed adversary that Cal will face, his name is Ravis. He has been ordered to kill Cal. He is also the leader of the Marauder group called the Bedlam Raiders. We don't know much other than that, but he does look pretty cool. Based on the trailers, we know more about the characters involved than the actual plot points, and that's absolutely okay. Don't spoil anything for me. We also see a scene with an Imperial senator talking and looking at Cal's lightsaber. He's in possession of it somehow. This guy supposedly had another character who was featured with a lightsaber, track down Cal, and Cal escaped but somehow lost his saber. And that last character we see is the one-armed man in a bacta tank healing himself. It's unclear exactly who he is, but he could be potentially a Sith fighter who is the one going after Cal. So they're giving us a glimpse of the characters. We don't know exactly who all these people are, why they're doing all this stuff, what's the main purpose of this game, but again, show me the characters, give me an idea of who we're going to be up against, and save the plot points for when I actually play the game. I'm totally okay with that. Respawn has also released a few videos giving us a glimpse at the gameplay, and that's looked very good so far. The developers are adding more elements to the foundation of the game's gameplay, such as lightsaber combat, which will feature up to 5 stances. We'll get the single blade and double blade lightsaber stances from the first game back, but then one of the new ones, for example, is being described as a Kylo Ren style crossguard lightsaber stance. It requires more confidence to use due to the longer timing windows when it comes down to trying to block and parry enemy attacks. The different stances are designed to be used against different types of enemies, and that reminds me a lot of the same thing that was done in Ghost of Tsushima. That game featured similar stances that were designed to be used against specific enemies. The combat does get a little bit varied as you're using the different stances, which I like. It's not going to be super repetitive. And it was really done well in that game, and I can't wait to see how it's implemented with a lightsaber in a similar system in this game. And credit to the developers too for taking the time to make more lightsaber combat styles and make it more unique and filled with variation, because you could simply just give Cal his lightsaber again and some abilities and powers and people will be still fine with it because heck, it's Star Wars and it's a lightsaber, who wouldn't want to use it? So the gameplay element that interests me the most, however, is the one we haven't really seen or heard about much of other than knowing that it exists in some capacity, and that's a blaster. Cal is seen with the blaster on his hip. We haven't really seen any combat with it. It hasn't really been explained a whole lot, but I really do hope that blaster is considered to be essential, meaning that it will be used a lot throughout the game. I'd love to see some events or opportunities, maybe like a quick time event where Cal could be blocking blaster shots with his saber in one hand and firing and aiming his own blaster in the other. Maybe they could do some kind of cool gameplay sequence throughout this game. And a couple of other little tidbits on gameplay. Cal will also have a grappling hook extension cable sort of tool. This will help him climb cliffs and zip across gaps. And also you could tame wildlife in the game and ride these beasts. So expect to traverse each planet on some type of creature. Level design is improving as well. The game will feature larger, more expansive maps. The maps will be filled with more NPCs. Planet design has allowed for more open and expansive areas. For example, the developers designed the planet Kobo to feature a dense central area with more open outskirt areas for players to check out as they travel and explore farther and farther away from that central area. There will be landing pads for the Mantis in central locations on the planet, so players will have an easier time accessing these various regions on the planet. Kobo is being described as a home away from home. Players will revisit it throughout the game, and new pathways will open up with each visit. Fast travel points will be added in the game, and thank God, I hate when open world games don't have this feature. It's one thing if you haven't fully explored an area, but when you 100% complete an area, why are you forced to go back and forth as you're traveling to different mission objectives and whatnot? That was one of the few things I hated about the first game. I wasted a lot of time having to walk around the map to get back and forth to the ship or to whatever I'm doing, and then sometimes you get lost as you're trying to figure out, am I supposed to go down that hallway or what? So personally, I am excited to have the opportunity to fast travel to save a little bit of time. It'll be quicker again to get from point A to point B with being able to tame and ride creatures as well. So a lot of cool things in terms of the level design and being able to get around quickly. And this does sound like it's going to be a long game based on the amount of stuff to do and how big the planets will be, so I really don't want to spend a couple of extra hours just walking back and forth. Exploring will be worthwhile because the optional areas of the game will contain skills, upgrades, and perks. And these things will help players make Cal more powerful and be prepared to take on tougher challenges down the road. I'll dive into customization in a moment, but there's one more thing to touch on in regards to the worlds that will be explored. The game will be introducing Jedi Chamber trials throughout the planets. They have been compared to the shrines in The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. I played only a little bit of that game, but I am familiar with playing and watching some friends play through some of those shrines in that game, and I think that would be a good addition to this game. And the trials will feature puzzles and challenges for the player to complete, which will provide rewards such as skill points for players to use to continue to upgrade their skill tree. Now, hopefully these aren't just activity sites. Like, I think it would be kind of cool if it contributes to the game's overall world building or adds some lore based on the Jedi and their training and powers, like why they went through these trials when the Jedi were, more of a thing. And the last thing I want to talk about today is the customization options that will be in the game. The first game was known for the variety of ponchos you could find and wear. Customization seems to be getting a big upgrade in the second game. In the sequel, you'll be able to build a wardrobe of more than just ponchos. Now you get to collect and wear jackets, shirts, and pants. You're going to be able to mix and match as you please. And I think that's pretty cool because I'm finishing up Hogwarts Legacy right now before I get into Jedi Survivor, and in that game, you're able to put whatever hat you want on with a cloak, with different outfits and things like that. So you can really make yourself look like a crazy wizard or just be dressed in your own way. And I think that's pretty cool. Players will also be able to change the hair and facial hairstyle for Cal. The appearance of the blaster can even change. Customization options for the lightsaber and BD1 return as well. BD1 is getting more customization options compared to the first game. In the first game, you could really only change his colors. Now you're going to be able to change his antennas, his head, his body, and his legs. I have not seen anything about ship customization yet, but I'm assuming it's going to be a thing because in the first game you were able to do basic customization like changing the color of the ship. So those are all the details we know of so far as we wait for Jedi Survivor to release. I think this is going to be a very good game. I am happy to see that the developers are adding more to this game. They're not just making the second chapter of the story. More variety in combat and customization is cool. I can't wait to see how the combat will be used with both a blaster and a lightsaber now. The weapons and the stances should make combat even more enjoyable, and I also noticed a nice amount of variety in the enemies. Players will be fighting stormtroopers, droids, creatures, and a variety of enemies that use melee combat. The first game had you fighting quite a few enemies with blasters. I think the ultimate fun with a lightsaber does come down from fighting others with melee weapons. Hacking and slashing is fun. And speaking of hacking off limbs, they are finally adding that ability into the game. I also appreciate the transparency in regards to what the developers are showing and telling us about. Like I said earlier in the video, they are staying quiet on the story, and that's fine. I wish they would show off the blaster a little bit. That does, I guess, maybe slightly concern me that they're not. They promoted a lot of other gameplay elements and level design and whatnot, but they're not showing the biggest addition. You know, you're getting a new weapon. You're not just using a lightsaber and force abilities. You now have a blaster. It does seem a bit odd to me that they're not doing anything with that in terms of promoting it a little bit. But still, they've released quite a bit of gameplay footage that gives us a good idea of what to expect, and most of what they haven't shown has been discussed in interviews. And after reading and watching everything that has come out about this game, especially in the last couple of weeks, I do feel confident in saying that this game will succeed and be even better than the first game. I have high hopes. Will you be playing this game? What has caught your eye about it so far? Let me know in the comments, like and share the video, and subscribe for more and hit that bell for notifications so you know when I post more. You can also find me on Twitter and TikTok at analyzethis_YT. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.